Hey everybody, Angie B here with today's vlog, and today's vlog topic is the worst movies Angie B has ever seen. Now, this is a really hard vlog to do, in large part because I honestly can't remember all of the titles of the really, really horrible movies I've seen. My brain has this ability to block out the truly horrific, and I've seen a lot of dreck over the years. I'm a huge fan of B movies, so it stands to reason that I've seen a lot of really, really irredeemably bad movies. But I'm going to try to touch on some of the worst movies that I can remember. First on the list is going to be Harsh Times. This is a pretty recent movie. It's maybe 2-3 years old, starring Christian Bale and Freddie Rodriguez. Now, when you've got two people like that in a movie, they're both pretty good actors, I'm a huge Freddie Rodriguez fan, you'd think that there'd be something redeemable about the movie. But no. This movie is going to suck the soul out of your body. It's a horrible, horrible movie that's about horrible, horrible people doing horrible, horrible things. As my friend Jason said, it's just a terrible movie about terrible people doing terrible things. And it's a soul-crushing movie. It's the sort of movie where you watch it and then you think, there's no rhyme or reason to anything. God does not exist. There are horrible people out in the world, and, it's a horrible movie. It's supposed to be about these two friends, and one of them gets in trouble with the law a lot, and the other one has a really, really bad temper, and Freddie Rodriguez is the more sympathetic character, but even he is pretty irredeemable. He gets in horrible fights with his girlfriend/wife. I don't even remember what she is to him, but he's just a horrible lover/husband. He's a horrible friend. And it ends terribly too. And so the whole movie, it just really felt like torture. 2 hours of torture. When it was over, I was so glad it was over, and I'm still trying to erase it from my mind. Don't see Harsh Times, okay? From me to you. That's my word of warning. Next on the list is going to be Zombie Strippers. Of course, writing my zombie thesis, I watched a lot of zombie movies, and a lot of zombie movies are just complete dreck. Zombie Strippers is definitely one of those dreadful movies. There's no rhyme or reason to it, there's a flimsy excuse for a plot, but it falls apart within the first 10 minutes. Jenna Jameson can't act worth a damn, which is to be expected. She is a porn star. And then you've got the completely unbelievable concept in the movie that all of these horny guys think it's really attracting, that it's hot and sexy to watch zombie strippers. They're literally falling to pieces. Their skin is going black and gray. They've got horrible circles under their eyes. Their skin is slimy. And guys keep coming to the strip club because they think that it's somehow erotic. That's the most unbelievable thing for me in the movie, which, come on, it's a movie about zombie strippers. How much more unbelievable can you get? But it's a really disgusting movie. Even I've got a huge threshold for gore and for disgusting stuff and for splatstick. Even I had trouble watching this movie. It's disgusting. If you need an ipecac, if you need a way to throw up, Zombie Strippers would be the way to go. Because the last 30 minutes alone are just, so repulsive. And I watched that movie with Lucas, which is even more embarrassing. Here I am with my best friend, just before he's about to get married, and we're watching Zombie Strippers together. It was a bad idea all around. Next on the list is going to be Sharks in Venice and Spring Break Shark Attack. They're both sci-fi original pictures. Sharks in Venice, starring the ever-admirable Stephen Baldwin, and Spring Break Shark Attack, starring no one. Now, I watched both of those films because I've got a soft spot for sci-fi original pictures. I love B-movies, and sci-fi originals are the kind of B-movies that you can just fall in love with because they're ridiculous, the acting is one-dimensional in every way, shape, and form, and you get some really, really laughable cameos by some really down-and-out actors that once used to actually be respectable, like Sean Patrick Flannery and Edward Furlong. And I love watching sci-fi originals, but even I had a hard time watching Sharks in Venice and Spring Break Shark Attack because there wasn't even that much to lampoon in the movies. They were that bad. They were already that ridiculous. And it was just kind of pitiful and pathetic. Sharks in Venice has Stephen Baldwin running around in a wetsuit, and no one needs to be seeing that. No one. And then Spring Break Shark Attack wasn't even satisfying because, hello, there was only one shark attack, and it was like the last 10 minutes of the movie. The whole movie was just this stupid drama about some co-ed who was in love with the bad boy and blah 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 and attempted rape, and it wasn't a good movie because it didn't deliver what it promised. It was supposed to be a Spring Break Shark Attack, and it didn't even give us a shark attack until the last 10 minutes of the movie. And then when the shark attack came, it wasn't even satisfying because it wasn't bloody, and the character that you really wanted to kill didn't die in a gruesome enough way. So it was just a disappointment, as B movies go. Next on the list is going to be Star Trek The Motion Picture, which is the first Star Trek movie. Now, apologies to the really hardcore Trekkies out there. I mean, live long and prosper. I consider myself, a member of the Trekkie echelon, but Star Trek The Motion Picture is pretty hard to watch because it feels like it's 7 hours long. And I don't know if it's just because I have such high expectations because I love Wrath of Khan and the new Star Trek movie and Star Trek First Contact, and there are some good Star Trek movies out there. But the first one is it's too long. There isn't a, exciting enough bad guy. There's some really trippy, weird stuff at the end. And I don't know, the outfits were weird, there was a different tone, you could tell that they hadn't really settled in their groove yet in terms of the movies. And I didn't really enjoy it. So, it gets like 2 stars out of 10 in my book. Apologies to diehard Trekkies out there, but I like a lot of Star Trek movies, that one just didn't cut the bill. And no vlog on horrible movies would be complete without mentioning Paul Walker, aka the black hole of talent. Lucas and I have had many a conversation about how any movie that features Paul Walker in any way, shape, or form is doomed to be ridiculously bad. A waste of your time, your money, and your precious brain cells. If Paul Walker is in a movie, do yourself a favor and don't even watch it. I've had the misfortune, and I've made the mistake, of watching a lot of Paul Walker movies over the years, and believe me when I tell you, it's not worth watching a Paul Walker movie. I mean, you've got Joyride, which was just a mess. It had Steve Zahn in it, and I love Steve Zahn, and Steve Zahn can usually redeem a movie, at least in part if he's in it. But Joyride was just such a mess. There were like 8 different endings, and by the time you got to the end, you didn't know which one was the real one and which ones were the ones that hit the cutting room floor. And then you've got movies like friggin' Fast and the Furious series, first 2, and then the most recent one, which featured Paul Walker. The man cannot act, and he has this almost supernatural ability when he is in a movie to suck all of the talent out of all the other actors. He can be in a movie with a perfectly decent actor like Steve Zahn and just suck all of the energy and the fun and the talent out of the movie. Paul Walker is just a national menace, and he shouldn't be allowed to work in Hollywood because he's a national tragedy, really. I can't stand Paul Walker. Ugh. So, that's my vlog on the worst movies I've seen. It's probably not a very accurate vlog because, again, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of really horrible B movies, but I can't recall the titles off the top of my head. And I figured it would just be, best if I touched upon the few that really made a horrible impact on my life. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's vlog. Hope you tune in for the next one. Check you later.